What is up? Good morning, RosterWatch Nation. I am Cody Carpentier, your host of the new show, Watching Rosters, on YouTube every Sunday morning, getting you ready to set your lineups and head into the fantasy weekend. It is Sunday, September 10th, and my friends, football is officially here. Kansas City hosted Detroit on Thursday night, but today we have a bevy of games, a big main slate. Carolina travels to Atlanta. Houston travels to Baltimore. Cincinnati travels to Cleveland. Jacksonville travels to Indianapolis. Tampa Bay at Minnesota in a potential shootout game. Tennessee against New Orleans. We think New Orleans is going to win this division. We don't know what Tennessee is. That's in the noon slate as well. San Francisco against the Steelers. The Steelers are a team that we think is going to start out hot. Nick Bosa just signed a fresh contract. And the Arizona Cardinals against Washington. That one should be a boring game, but that is just the 1 o'clock slate, a whopping 8 football games. I'm here to answer all the questions you have for setting your roster, setting your lineups. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to be setting my own lineups. I'm going to be adjusting my own DraftKings lineups. I'm going to be making a couple of bets. So come on in. Click that like button, click subscribe, ask any questions you got, and let's have a great morning talking about some NFL football because guess what? We're back. It's back. The season is here, and now we're just in it's time to drop it into third gear and just pin the ears back and go because this is football season. This is what we've been waiting for the entire offseason. I can't even – it's just every year it's the same thing. So good morning to the snowman in the chat. I see you there. What's going on, brother? How are you doing? It's 10 o'clock for me on the central time zone right now, 11 o'clock East Coast. So about a half an hour from now, we're going to get the inactives and actives list. So we'll be live for that as well. And we'll see what happens. Gooner Boy with the first question of the day. He says, Antonio Gibson or DJ Moore? I think this is a very good question because we don't really know exactly what the Chicago situation is going to unfold and look like. We think Chase Claypool, the trash man, was up at the Chicago Bears training camp. He thinks that Chase Claypool is going to have a little bit to say about the Bears moving the chains. We think Khalil Herbert's going to have a big workload out of the backfield in week 1 especially. They haven't heard nothing about the tight ends, and really Darnell Mooney's been pretty quiet. So it should be DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Khalil Herbert, and that's about what it is in Chicago. So I like DJ Moore in this one, but Antonio Gibson's very interesting, right? They play against the Arizona Cardinals, and Arizona's bad. And I think this game is going to absolutely suck. And that's just being straight up honest with you. I think this is going to be a 20-0, a 20-3 football game where Washington just wax poetic. They give Brian Robinson the ball 26 times. He rushes for 124 and a touchdown or 2. And I think Gibson's going to get a little bit of workload in the passing game just because his game isn't going to call for that. But he's also going to get probably 8 to 10 carries if I had to assume. So that's going to put you at like the 55 yards for Gibson, maybe a reception or 2. Give him another 20. That's going to be like literally like a 9, 10, 11 point game for Gibson. So for that reason, I'm going DJ Moore over Antonio Gibson. You have more upside against Green Bay. I think they're going to have to decide who they want Jair to focus on. Should it be DJ Moore? Yes, but we know DJ Moore can work in the slots and outside. So I'm going to go DJ Moore in this game. Really think this is it's a fun game to watch too. It's an afternoon slate game. It's a 3:25 Central, 4:25 East game. I think DJ Moore is going to have a good game. What are some of the dumpster dives for Andrews owners? This is a great one, right? This is a fantastic question because it's not even just the Andrews owners, right? It's also the Kelsey guys. You look in here at the tight end position, it's putrid. I'm going to pull up our combined rankings at RosterWatch right now. I put in mine, Trashman puts in his, and Alex puts in his, and we get kind of a composite score out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and sort that at the tight end position versus ECR. So one guy we're ahead of on ECR is Tyler Higbee. He's owned in most formats. A couple other ones that are going to be lesser owned at the tight end position. Dalton Schultz today at Baltimore. The matchup is not fantastic, but the target share should be there. It's Tank Dell. It's Dalton Schultz as what looked like the target focus points in preseason training camps and stuff like that. Robert Woods is also there, Nico Collins as well, but the focus point looked like it was Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell whilst Trashman was down there at camp. Gerald Everett's also a very interesting one in a potential shootout game with the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. We like Sam Laporta. I love Hayden Hurst this week. Hayden Hurst is my tight end 7 on the week. That was before the Mark Andrews injury. Taking Mark Andrews out of the equation, that puts Hayden Hurst is my tight end 6 on the week going into Atlanta, a team that he formerly played against. I think this is going to be, I've talked about it 100 times, but I think it's going to be a focal point. Thielen's going to be playing in this game. I think Thielen's going to get the ball a few times. Even with him being banged up, I think that only puts more emphasis on Hayden Hurst. I think he's a number 6 tight end on the week. That's kind of my play, my angle for that one. So those are kind of the sleeper, lesser known or lesser talked about guys. I'm going to talk about a couple of injuries here just over the last 24 hours, give you a little news recap. Like you mentioned before, Mark Andrews not likely to play. He did say it's kind of a day-to-day feel thing, so there could still possibly be, hey, he feels good today, he could go. But I would assume Baltimore's smart with him because they're playing against Houston. They don't need him. Darren Waller will play tonight. George Kittle is expected to play today. Zach Ertz is expected to play today, so that's going to kind of impact on some people maybe that have Trey McBride from Dynasty leagues and something like this. Zach Ertz will be playing. Marquise Brown also expected to play, so that goes into that Arizona fold. Jerry Jeudy not expected to play. So we've already seen Marvin Mims be a complete chalk pick in DFS this week. Only going to be more so now that Jerry Jeudy is going to be labeled inactive in this one. Devontae Parker with the New England Patriots. That should open the door for some guys, right? So maybe Demario Douglas gets a little bit of run in this game. I doubt Kayshon Boutte gets any week 1 run, but he should. Juju Smith-Schuster in this offense. Sounds like his knee is ready to explode, they said over the last week, but he should be probably the target leader in this offense. We'll see what happens to the tight end room as well in New England. Devon Achane, this was kind of a surprise. Devon Achane comes out this morning. They said Devon Achane is going to be inactive, and it's going to be all Mostert and all Selvin Ahmed. So I was very happy with my ranking of Raheem Mostert in this game because going into the week, I had Mostert considerably higher than anybody else. Let me see if I can find it right here. I have him running back 9 on the week. Alex had him 18. Trashman had him 27. So he came out at 20 for the RosterWatch ranking. ECR has him as 30 on the week, Raheem Mostert. I think Raheem Mostert's going to get, you can see the bulk of the carries, but the bulk of the carries, what does that mean for Miami? Is it 15, 16, or is it 23? Somewhere in between there, I think. And I think Mostert's upside with his long running opens up some upside for him in fantasy, especially in week 1 while he's healthy. And I think that's the big focus. A couple other injuries. Breece Hall is going to be eased in today. It looks like Ian Rappaport reported this morning that Dalvin Cook was going to get the majority of the work for the first couple of weeks of the season, with Breece Hall being eased in. The guy they did not mention there was Michael Carter. I mentioned before, whilst going through my week 1 rankings and kind of deciphering what I wanted to do with this backfield, I kind of put some splits on it. And going into the week, my splits to running back position were Dalvin Cook 35%, Breece Hall 25%, and Michael Carter 30%. So I think I'm going to put my Michael Carter one at about 25%, putting him down 5. And then I think I'm going to put Dalvin at about 50. So that put the Breece Hall down to about 15%. So I think we're going to get a 50% share from Dalvin. We're going to get a 25 from Michael Carter. Again, people are ignoring Michael Carter, but I think Michael Carter is going to be kind of a savvy play here. And I think Dalvin puts himself right up into like top 26, top 24 conversation in week number 1, I think. I don't love the matchup against Buffalo, but I think he's in the conversations with the Gibsons, the Swifts of the world, and maybe that's low for a lot of people, but I think the Michael Carter is going to have a lot more to say in the passing game against Buffalo here in week 1. The other injury was Najee Harris, supposedly going to be splitting more carries with Jaylen Warren. That came out also from our report this morning. It's the literal same thing that they've been saying forever, so it's not really any news, so don't double count this. We knew Warren was going to work in on 3rd down. They said he's going to get a few more 1st and 2nd down runs. Whatever, just wait, be patient. I love Najee. I'm still in on Najee there. And then Ramondre Stevenson is expected to play. So those are some of the injuries and news and notes that have happened over the last 24 hours. I'll keep my notifications up for when inactives do come out, and we'll talk about those when they do come out. But if you do have any questions, again, like I said, drop them in the chat, and I'll get through them right now. So good morning, Gooner. Good morning, Snowman. What's up, B. Ollie? Half PPR. I need 2, he says. We're going to go Pirine, Gibson. He says Brandon Cooks and Zay Flowers. I think on the surface, I want to see where I have Pirine apropos to Gibson. So I have Gibson ahead of Pirine, and then Brandon Cooks I think is an interesting matchup against the Giants here. I think I like Cooks over Pirine in this one, and then I want to see where I have Flowers. Flowers is a little bit lower than those guys, but the interesting thing with Flowers is it's not adjusted for the Andrews thing as far as the wide receivers go. So I think in this one, half PPR, I think I'm going to go Gibson and Flowers here. I'm going to go Gibson and Flowers because, like I mentioned before, I think you're going to get an opportunity for Gibson to score a touchdown in this game. The Denver situation just scares me. I like the Vegas front seven, so I don't really want to trust this backfield. How it's going to unfold, we don't know, right? Javante's gotten a lot of work, and what they've told us is they're going to use Javante. We think they trust Samaje, and then you hear these inklings of Jalen McLaughlin getting some run because he's got the explosion and the burst. I think he's got more burst and explosion than Javante and Pirine combined right now. So it could be a mess in Denver. That's for those reasons I'm out on Pirine. I think Cooks is a very interesting play against the Giants, but I'm going to trust Flowers getting a little higher target share in this one, and then Gibson he has upside spelt in his middle name. So we're going to go with him there. So we got a PPR question here between Herbert and Akers. I'm going to go Herbert 100% here. I think Akers is a good player. I just don't like this offensive line whatsoever. I think Seattle's going to kind of bring them down and mute them. This is a divisional game. It's going to be a hard focus game. Will Akers get 16, 17 carries? Sure. Is that going to be for 47 yards or is that going to be for 87 yards? I think you're going to be a lot closer to that 47-yard marker than anything. And we know Herbert's going to get the focal point of the load here. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. Shout out to Snowman, loves the Hurst call. Brian, full PPR, need a solid floor flex, Swift or Charbonnet. If you're looking for a solid floor, you're going to go Charbonnet here, Brian. I appreciate the explanation behind the question. You're not just saying full PPR, but you need a safe floor, a solid floor. I think Charbonnet is going to get that for you. Kenneth Walker, of course, dealing with an injury. Charbonnet was as well, but Charbonnet, I think they want to see what they got in him. And again, they're playing against Aaron Donald in this Rams defense, but Seattle should be ahead in this game early, resulting in running the ball. Kenny McIntosh just went on IR yesterday, so it looks like it's going to be a lot of Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, things of that nature. DJ Dallas, like Charbonnet here to put at least get you into that 9 to 11, 12 point range, where Swift, that's been like the conversation of the summer, right? Who knows what's going to happen at the running back position with the Philadelphia Eagles? So I'm going to go ahead and go Charbonnet for this one. Waller going to play. Right now, it looks like Waller's going to play. Everything we've seen on the old X says that Darren Waller will be playing in this game. Haven't heard anything or seen anything that would argue against that. So I'm going to go ahead and lean towards yes with Darren Waller playing. But again, we got about 15 minutes before actives and inactives come out, and then we'll really jump into that. Which running back should I leave out this week? Jamal Williams, I'm going to assume. Tim Sauce, is that Jamal or Javante? I'm going to assume Jamal. And Khalil Herbert and James Conner. I would leave out James Conner out of these three guys. I think Jamal Williams is set up to smash. I think Herbert's in a great spot. I think Conner just has a tough matchup against Washington. If this is Javante, I would probably go Herbert and Conner and leave off Javante just because Javante's in. I just talked about that Denver backfield. I think Connor's just going to get more usage than that as well. We do have some breaking news. It looks like not quite breaking. It's Taylor Lewan is officially announcing his retirement from the NFL. So that's cool. He was obviously with the Tennessee Titans for years. He's officially done. Harry Snowman says Kincaid, Juwan Johnson, or Hayden Hurst. He's really going to pull on my heartstrings here asking this question here. For me personally, I have Hayden Hurst as my tight end 7 on the singular week, Juwan Johnson at 20, and Kincaid at 14. So that would lean towards saying Hurst. Now, I think, like I said, Kincaid's tight end 14 the week for me as well. I think that Kincaid's going to have a lot of opportunities, but I think that Hurst is going to end up with more targets than the other two as well. I think Juwan's a decent play. If you look on our average over at RosterWatch, Juwan's actually going to be ahead of Kincaid because the boys, Alex and Trashman, are a little higher on Juwan than I am, and they're a little lower on Kincaid than I am high. So we'll see what happens there. Johnny D says, how viable is having ETN and Dameon Pierce as running backs? Was able to grab Tyreek and CeeDee Lamb as my wide receivers. Unsure if my lack of quality at running back should have me looking for an upgrade. I think the biggest question you have here is, and I like how you did this draft, and we love Dameon Pierce at RosterWatch. I think the question you're asking yourself really is, what is my expectation of Dameon Pierce, and can I upgrade from Dameon Pierce? I think that if you can move him and not move a lot of other assets and get up to a better pass catcher, a guy that's in a better offense, for example, I would do so. I love Dameon Pierce. But again, I just don't know what this offense looks like this year. I don't know what that pass to run ratio looks like for him out of this backfield. I don't know how much CJ Stroud looks at him out of the backfield, where they do have Devin Singletary, who we know is a decent pass catcher. That's the only thing I would say is maybe if you can take Dameon Pierce and not get rid of a big asset with him and move up, I would act on that. But I do like Dameon Pierce in the other situation here. Anthony Richardson or Geno Smith comes from Tim Sauce in the chat. This is a very good question. We have them back to back on the Roster Watch rankings. I personally have Anthony Richardson quarterback 13 and Geno at 21. I think it's a little bit of a weird matchup against the Rams for that reason. I think they run the ball a lot. Alex and Trashman have Geno a little bit higher. They actually have Geno as well, back to back with Richardson, but we all have Richardson ahead of Geno Smith. So I'm going to go ahead and say Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's going to be hard for people that don't play Richardson this week to come back and be like, damn, man, that 32-point output in week 1 when he just ran the ball. I'm just saying if it happens. I'm just saying that'd be one where you'd come back and damn it, I really played Geno Smith and he scored 14 and Richardson's on my bench scoring 32. I don't think the inverse happens. Jared McDonald, thank you for being in the chat today. Hopkins, Jamal Williams, or Christian Kirk at the flex. I'm going to go ahead and say Jamal Williams here. Kirk is in a good situation, but remember, he does play in the slot often, and Kenny Moore is the best, arguably the best defender outside of DeForest Buckner on the Colts. I think he's going to see a little bit of him. I think this is also like a Ridley-focused game. Ridley has got so much pent up that it's going to be hard for him to flop. I don't know how he doesn't end up with 12, 13, 14 targets in this football game unless Jacksonville completely dusts the Colts. Hopkins is a good one, but again, Burks is not – I would say Burks is not 100% right now, and he's still working in. I would bet Hopkins is on Lattimore in this game, and for those reasons, I would go Jamal on the opposite side because we know he's going to get the bulk of the carries. I don't see a reason how Jamal does not end up with 24, 25-plus touches in this game just because Kendre's not there and Alvin Kamara is not there as well. It's literally going to be Tony Jones and Kirk Merritt, former wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins. Shout out Kirk Merritt, very athletic guy. Big Money Joe, 12-man, 1-point PPR. Need 2 running backs in a flex. My choices are a boatload of guys. Let's see. Tony Pollard. Well, you're playing him. Javonte Williams, James Cook, Dalvin Cook, Deontay Johnson, and Jordan Addison. First off, you're playing Tony Pollard in the running back slot. I think you're also going to be playing Deontay against the Niners. I'll go Deontay against the Niners. And I think it's close between Addison and Dalvin for me. See here. Let me see where Trashman has him in his flex built rankings. He has Addison 84th, and he has Delvin 72nd. So I'm going to go ahead and say Delvin. Let's go Delvin. Pollard and Delvin with the 2 running back spots, and then we're going to go Deontay. Oh, it doesn't matter. You should flex. So yeah, you had to have 2 running backs. We'll go Pollard and Delvin, and then Deontay in that flex spot there. Good question, Big Money Joe. Appreciate you. All right, first inactive of the day comes out 10 minutes early. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews is officially inactive on the day. He will not be playing in this game. Looks like it will be the Isaiah Likely show for the Baltimore Ravens. If you are in the chat, I'm going to ban this one guy because it's a bot. That's cool. If you're in the chat, click that like button, click subscribe over here on YouTube. We appreciate you for tuning in, tapping into watching rosters in week 1 on Roster Watch's YouTube channel. Click like, click subscribe. And if you don't get your question answered here, which I will answer every single question up until the time I end the stream, but if you are listening back and you need a question answered, make sure you go to RosterWatch.com, click on any of the articles, go down to the comment section and just drop a comment. We're in there. We're on there. We're answering questions. Trashman, Byron, Alex, myself will get you answered ASAP. Louis. All right, here, running back Fant says, flex spot, full PPR, Jonathan Mingo or Michael Pittman. We're going to go ahead and ride with Michael Pittman here. I don't know why I just started to say Jonathan. Wasn't my answer. Michael Pittman here. Michael Pittman is the X for Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to see between 8 and 11 targets in this football game against Jacksonville. They're going to be trying to come back. I think Jacksonville's going to get up early and Pittman's going to get that work. Whereas Mingo, yes, he's in the outside X role from the jump. But like I've mentioned many times on this channel, that Carolina does not care about the X or the Y or the Z or the whatever. Every single play is built for a different single player. Mingo's route tree is not completely built right now. He's only got a couple of routes really that are in his repertoire. So I'm going to go ahead and lean on Michael Pittman, the thing I do know. Kip, what's good, brother? We made it to week 1. We are officially here. Good call on that. My throat's getting dry as well. I'm going to give you a cheers with the morning coconut. We got a coconut Red Bull this morning. It's coconut berry. If you haven't had it before, you need to. That was good. All right. Appreciate you guys. Let's have a fantastic Sunday here. What's up, Michael? Fletcher says, "Should I?" Fletcher Cox, man, what are you? You're supposed to be getting dressed right now, dude. Aren't you? Don't you have a game at? Do you have an afternoon game? You have a 4:25 Eastern against the Patriots. Hey, man, you got a big matchup with Cole Strange today. You got to go warm up. Dude. Cole Strange is a unit. Should I start Jamal Williams over Debo this week though? Is what Fletcher Cox is asking. That's a typical question coming from a D lineman here and doesn't know who to start in his flex position. I don't know how you don't play Debo. I know Jamal's got a juicy matchup, but I think the allure, it's kind of like the Richardson versus Geno thing I talked about earlier, where Richardson could put up 32 and Geno could put up 14 in a realistic world, and you're going to be playing Geno, and you're going to say, damn, man, I really wish I would have played Richardson. Like, I'm going to miss out on that big game, where in the inverse is like, this is going to be a good San Francisco-Pittsburgh football game, and I think there's a world where you see Jamal Williams just run the football, and if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to end up with 11 points. But Debo, we know how important Debo is, and Kittle's been banged up, so maybe Debo has a focal point in this game. Ayuk as well. Like I think you play Debo here out of these two guys. Good question, Fletcher. Good luck today against the New England Patriots, brother. Hoang says, "What's up, Cody? Likely or Higbee in PPR at the tight end position?" Let's see here where I have Higbee this week. Higbee I have as tight end number 7, right below Hayden Hurst. I think Likely is a very interesting one. So before the Mark Andrews injury, I had Likely down at 31 coming in, and I think as soon as that injury goes away, you kind of bump him right up into that Ferguson, Kincaid, Hunter Henry conversation, which is just outside the top 10. So for those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and stay with Tyler Higbee just on pure target share because as much as I think Likely has a role in this offense, I think that role was not as large as Andrews was. And I think they're going to look to other guys. Bateman's kind of a low-key guy right now, right? He was free in a lot of leagues. And for me, he's past strike 4. I'm just not playing Bateman, but I think Bateman has been at practice for the last couple of weeks. I think there may be a role for him, Flowers as well, or they might just straight up run the ball. Lamar could have 60 rushing yards in the first half, and J.K. Dobbins has 80, and they just focus on that. It all really depends. But I like Likely, but I love Higbee more in week 1 with all the targets. Kevin Weber, how we doing, brother? Jordan Addison or Samaje Perine? I think we're going to go ahead and say Perine in this game here. I really want Addison though. Let me see where we got him ranked. I think I want to lean Perine here, but I think Addison's got a more upside with. I think this is a shootout game. That's a good question, brother. Let's see here. So we have these guys about 6 spots apart. Trashman has these guys 6 spots apart in his flex rankings. I'm going to go Jordan Addison because I'm playing for upside. I'm playing to win. This is PPR. I'm playing to win now. I'm going to go Jordan Addison, Kevin, because I think Jordan Addison in this game, he's a route runner. He's a great route runner. I think this Tampa Bay Minnesota game is something like 33-26. I think this is a really good football game where they're going to be pushing the football. And I think Jordan Addison is going to have 5 or 6 receptions in this game that could give you 60 yards and a touchdown. Whereas Perine, like I mentioned before, this Denver backfield it kind of does scare me. I trust Perine, but this backfield just scares me too much. I'm going to go Addison here. What's up, brother? How we doing? I think Richardson is my main question this week. I have him and Watson in a few leagues. That's a little tougher for me than I think Geno is between if you were to say Richardson or Watson. If I was you and if you have Kip, or anybody that's wondering this type of situation, if you have Richardson and Watson, and those are your main 2 quarterbacks, and say you have 13 leagues and you own Richardson and Watson in 8 of them, I would split the difference. I would go 4 leagues and 4 leagues, maybe is probably how I would attack that, just so I'm not too much in on one guy. Nick Tabs, what's up, Cody? Do you have any fantasy props today? I do. Let me bring up my Patreon quick. I have them posted over on patreon.com/executives. I'm doing some stuff over at Unabated, and Unabated has a sick edge tool that you can use where you can plug in your projections, and then they'll give you a percentage of edge you have against the field. These are some of my favorite props this week from Underdog using the Edge tool. I like Dalvin Cook over 43.5 rushing yards for the Jets. That number is probably moved now. I posted these on patreon.com/executives. I posted these 2 days ago. So that was Friday morning. These come out usually every week. These are my top 8 of the week. Dalvin Cook over 43.5. We have him projected for 63. Raheem Mostert lower than 63.5, probably been projected for 50. Gus Edwards lower than 30.5 was on here with a 38% edge. Tutu Atwell less than 3 receptions, and Darius Slayton less than 3 receptions. Also on here is Jackson Smith and Jigba over 29.5 receiving yards. I like that one for a projection of 50. So, yeah, those are some of the best ones this week. My favorite one definitely is that Dalvin and that Raheem Mostert one out of those two, though, for sure. Good question, Nick. Appreciate you. Hope all is well. Thank you for coming on over to the channel. Big Money, thank you. Full Gooner Boy, full PPR, Akers or Deontay is the question here. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson. Just on targets. I mentioned before Cam Akers. I'm afraid that the 14 carries looks like 47 yards and not 87 yards for that. France, thank you very much for the compliment. Michael Y says Ridley or Jahan Dotson. This is a 3,000% Ridley for me. I know there's a lot of question marks centered around Ridley and kind of what he looks like because he hasn't played in so long, but I'm going to go 100% with Ridley in this game, getting 9+, 10+ targets in this one. Make sure you guys are clicking that like button, click subscribe, and if you do have any questions after the show is over, remember to go over to RosterWatch.com, go to any of the posts, and ask any questions, and we'll get those questions answered. Alex is over there. Byron, Trashman, and myself will be over there at RosterWatch.com up until kickoff of all the games. If you got any questions, drop them in there as well. Also, remember to go over there and subscribe to the Pro and Premium. We have a bunch of tools, DFS tools, rankings, articles. There's just a bevy of things. The Vegas tool, the algo, all of it's over there at rosterwatch.com. Make sure you go on over there and become a pro member. Again, $9.99 a month. Simple as that. Frozen State Productions. He says Cup is out. Yes, he's on IR. DeAndre Hopkins or Brandon Cooks as your wide receiver 2. You must be running back heavy, or you drafted a tight end and a quarterback in the first couple rounds. Or no, you must have drafted Cup. So that's definitely what happened. So Cup, okay, I got you. I totally forgot about the Cup thing. Good call. I'm sometimes kind of, yes. I'm going to go Hopkins here. I got Hopkins as wide receiver 22 on the week. I got Brandon Cooks as wide receiver 40, so I'm going to go ahead and ride with Hopkins here. Good question. Thank you, Frozen State. Vapor says PPR pick 2 for flex, 12-man super flex. Deontay Johnson, Javonte Williams, Hopkins, or Brandon Cooks. So we can already eliminate Brandon Cooks because we talked about that. We can already eliminate Javonte. We're going to ride with Deontay Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins in this one here, in this pick 2 flex 12-man league. Let's see here. Actives and inactives are just about to start rolling out. So let me run through a couple questions rapid fire here. Tim Sluss says Zions Frostberry is the best energy drink. Haha. Hey, I have not had that. I'm going to write that down. So over on Instagram at Carpentier NFL, I have one of my, it's like a highlight thing. If you go to the profile page, there's like highlights and stuff. One of those highlights I do have is literally just like all energy drinks and grading them all. I think there's like literally 60 energy drinks in there and I grade them. So Zions Frostberry, I'll go try it. Good call there. Kevin Weber, this is the Fantasy Honey Hole. Love what you guys do. Been a sub for almost 5 years now to Roster Watch. Kevin, you're a real one. That's why we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Keep on kicking some ass. Britt Steed, Dalvin Cook or Brandon Cooks? Dalvin Cook and half PPR, baby. Let's go. Did you say Mother Truck and Hayden Hurst? Yes, sir, I did. Let's go, Nick Tabs. You know what it is. Cam Akers or James Cook? Let's go James Cook for the Buffalo Bills against the Jets on Monday Night Football. Vo asked the same question again. Again, we're going to go Hopkins and Deontay in that one. James Cook, Hayden Hurst, or Jaden Reed in the old flex spot. This is an interesting one. This is a tough one. This might be the question of the day here from Michael Y. This one's going to burn us, I think, regardless. On rankings, I would ride with Hayden Hurst because I told you he's going to be he's going to be the 6th tight end on the day. I think James Cook is interesting. I think James Cook is number 3 on this list for me personally. Jaden Reed, I think it's a lot of work. He's a stud. We know what he is. If he can stay healthy on the field, I think Jaden Reed has a good game. I would go Hayden Hurst for the safe floor. That's where I would roll with this question. That's a tough one, though. Thank you for the question. Invader says Drake London. Ooh, this is a tough one, dude. Drake London or Najee Harris. Let's check out what Trashman has here. Trashman has Najee Harris at 31 on the week, but he's a little bit lower than I am overall anyways. And he has London at 59. So we're going to go ahead and ride with Najee. Thank you, Kevin, as well. Thoughts on Ty Chandler? Listen, man, they signed Myles Gaskin. They chopped Dwayne McBride. I talked about it when I went to the Vikings training camp that they didn't like this backfield and that they were looking for other guys. Mike Davis, Kareem Hunt. They didn't bring anybody in. I think that just based off Myles Gaskin getting cut this last week and then put in the practice squad, it looks like Ty maybe has turned a little bit of the corner. They never did go out and get anybody else at the running back position. He's probably turned the corner a little bit, but also Kene is still there. I don't know. I trust it to a certain extent. I don't look for him to have anything near a 30% output. I like I said it from camp, it was a 90-10 Madison to CJ Ham split during training camp. In this game today against Tampa, I would say it's probably going to be a 78 to 80% Madison opportunities. And you're going to get Ty Chandler in there for maybe 6 total touches. That would be my projection on this one. It's a tough one. I don't mind him, though. Rashad Bateman or Breece Hall, half PPR. Just based on the news that we saw, Breece Hall getting eased in. I'm going to go Rashad Bateman here, even though it's pukey. We're going to go with it. Yes, you got to go check out the Algo. They were on SiriusXM talking to Alex and Trashman yesterday. Mitch was, and you can go check out the Algo on RosterWatch.com in the pro section. Again, last year hit a 55% win rate, and if anybody on here does make bets, you need to go check that out because if you 55%, as people know, as a professional bettor, you make money. Hit 55%, you can make a living off of that. So go check that out over at RosterWatch.com. Standard at tight end, Musgrave or Okonkwo at the tight end position. Let's see what our ranking comes out as. We have Chig at 15.8, and we have Musgrave at 21.4. I have Musgrave at 18 and Chig at 19. Alex has Chig at 19, Musgrave at 16, and Trashman brought the Musgrave ranking down by giving him a 24 and giving Chig a 12. So for me and Alex, we're going Musgrave over Okonkwo by a hair. And Trashman is completely out on Musgrave and in on Chig. So we're going to go with Musgrave over Okonkwo in week 1. Nick says, who do you think that will be the surprise week 1 waiver ad? Let's get ahead of the game and take all the monies. I love that. So at tight end, I'm going to keep saying it because people are still not taking him. Hayden Hurst, that's too easy. At the wide receiver position, who's going to be the guy? I think there's a couple here. I think Chase Claypool's a very interesting one. Just based on targets and opportunities up there. Curtis Samuel's an interesting one. And I also want to say, I just want to put this one out there, is that I think there's a world where Laviska Shenault gets some weird usage today. So, yeah, those are going to be my wide receivers. And then at running back, Sean Tucker, we don't know what that output looks like at all. Michael Carter, I mentioned before. Who knows? Who knows what the Michael Carter stuff looks like apropos to Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall? Good question, Nick, as well. All right, last one. Then I'm going to talk about the inactives for just about a minute. Gooner says Rachaad White or Godwin, point per first down reception. Point per first down. That leads me towards Godwin. We have them back-to-back in the flex rankings. I'm going to go Godwin. I think that leads me towards Godwin. Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen. I'm going to leave this one up. Michael Y. Cody sounds sick. He needs a prescription. Football and more cowbell. I love it. All right, let's talk about some inactives. Now let me pull this bad boy up. Let's see what we have today. All right. Inactives. Cordero Patterson is officially out for the Atlanta Falcons. He's in that joker spot for the Falcons. So this should give a little bit of a bump to Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith. If you're in those deep dynasty leagues and you're still holding on to Jonnu Smith, a very interesting play today from Jonnu Smith, because Jonnu Smith is also a guy in this offense that is kind of in that joker role, and he's been seen to be working out of the backfield as well. Mark Andrews officially is inactive. I think we talked about that one just a little bit ago. I'm not seeing a lot of inactives. I got to Google it now. I thought they were all here. Where'd they go? All right, Vikings inactives look like Marcus Davenport will not be playing on the defensive line for the Vikings today. Kendre Miller is officially out. Hollywood Brown and Zach Ertz are officially in. George Kittle is officially in. Romeo Doubs looks like he will be playing in this one. Ramondre Stevenson will be playing in this one. For the Ravens, we mentioned Mark Andrews already. Marlon Humphrey is also officially out in this game for the Baltimore Ravens. That should only benefit the outside receivers for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans at the inactives are everybody's favorite, John Mechie at the wide receiver position, will not be playing today in this one against the Baltimore Ravens. The Jaguars, JaMychal Hasty is officially inactive in this one. For the Titans, we see Will Levis is an inactive. Malik Willis will be the backup for Ryan Tannehill. Jalen Duncan, Dylan Radins on the offensive line. Colton Dowell at the wide receiver position will be inactive. For the Falcons, it looks like Jeff Okudah and Mike Hughes, 2 first-round flops at the cornerback position, will be out. I mentioned Cordero Patterson already. Rookie offensive line, Jovan Gwynn. Zach Moss for the Indianapolis Colts will not be playing this game, so it's going to be all Deion Jackson and Evan Hull. So going into the week, I had Evan Hull bumped pretty high in the rankings, and I'm going to have to bump him up once again. I had Evan Hull running back 37, Moss 42, and Deion 53. So I think with the news, we're going to have to get rid of that Zach Moss predicted 50% split, and I think we're probably going to see somewhere around a 50-50 for Hull and Deion Jackson. So we got to get rid of Zach Moss here. We're going to do a live update, and that's going to move Hull up into the running back 26 spot, and that's going to have Deion Jackson, running back 38, right after Tyja between Rashad Penny. So that's going to be a live update right there for those guys. See if there's any more inactives and actives. Freshly signed Arizona Cardinal rookie tight end Elijah Higgins, who came over from the Miami Dolphins, is inactive. Owen Papoa, a super talented linebacker, inactive in this one. For the Buccaneers, here's a good one here. Keyshawn Vaughn, inactive. So it's going to be Sean Tucker, Rashad White, and Chase Edmonds. Inactives for the Indianapolis Colts start with Will Mallory. We mentioned Zach Moss a second ago. Sam Ehlinger, the third quarterback, will not be playing, so it's Richardson and Gardner Minshew in this game. Also, rookies, Julius Brents from Kansas State, the long-armed cornerback. Isaiah Land, the rookie linebacker from Florida A&M, and then the all-world athlete Adetomiwa Adedebore from Northwestern will not be making his debut here in Week 1. The Washington Commandos, we got Chase Young inactive in this one, as well as rookie Mitchell Tinsley at the wide receiver position. Any other big ones on the board here? Panthers, DJ Chark is officially inactive. That's all I got. We just ran through a boatload of them. I'm going to bring the sheet back up so it's still here. But then I'm going to go back through all your guys' questions. So thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. Make sure you click that like button, click subscribe. If you do have any other questions, make sure you go over to RosterWatch.com and drop a comment on one of the posts, and we will get that answered before kickoff today. Otherwise, appreciate you guys for staying here. We're going to keep on answering your questions until we get to the bottom of this list, and then we're going to head out. Zay says Pickens, Burks, Hall, or Charbonnet. You have to pick one. I'm going to assume PPR for this question here. And we're asking between Pickens. So Hall is going to be axed immediately. We'll just say that from the jump, just complete transparency. I know Hall's not even going to be in the conversation. Pickens, overall at 67. Burks, 68. Hall, 69. Pickens, 70. 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 Hall, Burks, overall 93. I think Sharp might be ahead. Nope. So it looks like we're going to go with Pickens in this matchup. We're going to go George Pickens here for you, Zay. I like Burks. I think it's interesting, but I'm going to go with Pickens as well. Breece Hall and Mike Williams. We're going to go Mike Williams in this game. I think this is a shootout possibility. We talked about Breece before. Breece getting worked in. People are forgetting. They bring up Dalvin Cook, and they're talking about Breece Hall, but they also forgot about Michael Carter. Daniel Jones or Tua at the quarterback position here in week number 1. Daniel Jones is interesting, but Tua in this matchup, there's just too much upside. I have him as QB5 on the week. Daniel Jones is a little bit of a tougher matchup against this vaunted Dallas defense. Again, we know he can get out and run, but we're going to go with Tua for this matchup. Good question, Zay. Again, Turkey Sub. Good name. I love that. PPR start 1, Deion Jackson, Pirine, or AJ. Is that Dillion? I love Dillion. That's a good one there. Deion Jackson, I just mentioned before, is going to be on the lower end for me at the running back position this morning. Deion Jackson, running back 42, it looks like here for me. And then at Pirine, it's going to be just ahead of him. And let's see where Dylan's at. Dylan's one that nobody's asked really anything about this morning. We have Pirine just ahead of Dylan. So we're going to go ahead and ride with Pirine in this game. Gets Jackson, Smith and Jigba, or Dobbs. Give me Jackson. Give me Jackson. Dobbs is going to be in a limited role, and we already know he is not the best wide receiver in football. So we're going to go ahead and ride with Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Help. Is Andrews starting? No, he's not. He's inactive. I'm either starting him or Likely. You're going to start Likely, Jared, 1124. You're going to end up starting Likely in this game. Juju or A.J. Dillon, flex PPR. You're going to ride with Juju in this game. I know they say his knee's about to explode, but that does not mean he can't run 3-yard routes, catch the football, gain 5, and fall down, and do that 12 times. I'm not saying he will, but he could, and he would, and he should, because New England needs to gain as many yards as possible in this game against the Eagles, because they should be behind early and often. Throw the ball to Juju. I like that much more than Dillon. Dillon's also just a weird one. He's in a weird spot. We love Aaron Jones this week in DFS especially, so I'm going to ride with Juju. Likely, Hurst, or Musgrave. Hurst. Go with it. Go with it. Cactus Jack, Javonte Williams, or Chris Godwin in the flex. We're going to ride with Chris Godwin here. Chigokonkwo or Greg Dulcich. We're going to go ahead and ride with Chigokonkwo. I think that's a very interesting question. I think Okonkwo has more upside than Dulcich. I love Dulcich. We love Dulcich, but we've heard some things about the Denver usage out there. Now, with Jerry out, I will say this. We've definitely not talked positive about Denver and about Greg Dulcich, but we love him. And back when we heard those rumors about Dulcich, that was pre-Jerry Jeudy injury. So I'm not saying that they didn't adjust and make Greg Dulcich more of a slot receiver. That could definitely happen. I could be eating crow right now. But because of the things we do know, I'm going to ride with Chig for this one. Snowman, shout out. Appreciate you. Johnny, again, we're going Hurst here. Drop a like. Appreciate you. Yeah, don't forget, drop a like. Appreciate you guys staying here, tapping in, tuning in. Good luck week 1, everybody. Kip, appreciate you tuning in this morning. Happy Sunday. Happy week 1. Start 2, Ryan says. Delvin or James Cook. Javonte or Cam Akers. I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook. DJ Duvernay. Love that name as well. Struggling. Pick 1 running back, 1 flex, pull full PPR. James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Raheem Mostert, DeAndre Hopkins. Factors I consider: Bills' tough matchup, Bears' busy backfield, Dolphins starting left tackle out, Lattimore on Hopkins all game. I am going Herbert and Mostert here. We're going Khalil Herbert and Raheem Mostert here. Good question, good question. A couple other guys that are officially in. Looks like Marquise Brown, mentioned him already. Adam Thielen's officially in. Monday Green, ask you the Podfather and player profiler. It's a great question. I answered all of those things over on Patreon. If you want to come over to, if you're on Patreon, if you're over at Patreon, if you're not, come on over there, patreon.com/executives. I'm never going to hate on anybody. I love Matt and appreciate everything Matt always did for me, but there was a number of just things in life, work and non, that had to do with it. And I talked about them over on Patreon with my boy Matty Kiwum on the Executive Show a couple weeks ago. So you can come over to Patreon and and we'll tap in and we'll talk about that kind of stuff. But thank you for the question, Monday Green. I just love what I'm doing right now for Roster Watch. I'm also doing a couple things for Unabated and Sportstopia, and making content. That's my main goal. I want to make content. That's what I'm here for, making content and studying the rookie class every single year for college football. And I want to expand that on all positions. I want to finally get to all positions. We'll just leave it at that, where I want to be focused on making content and studying these prospects. Thank you, Monday Green. Appreciate you. All right, DJ Duvernay, likely Dulcich or Hurst. We're going to go here. If your second option would be likely. All right, Guadalupe Luna. He says full PPR, Madison against Tampa, Connor against Washington, Evans against Minnesota, or Deshaun Watson against Cincinnati, or Geno. So what are we asking here? Is this like a super flex spot? Or is it a two-parter? Because if it's a two-parter, I would go at Madison against Tampa, and then I would go Watson against Cincinnati. But if it's a super flex spot, I would just go Watson against Cincinnati. You have to repurpose. A-Chain's going to be inactive, Gavin, so we're going to go ahead and ride with Zeke here. London, Cooper, or OBJ in half PPR. I'm going to go with Cooper here. OBJ had that injury come up. London, we don't know what any of that stuff looks like. I'm going to ride with Cooper here, Kevin. Appreciate the question. Guadalupe says it was a two-parter. Okay, so full PPR, pick one. I'm going to go Madison here over Evans and Connor. I think Evans does have a good game, but the volatility with that is going to be tough in this matchup. I'm going to ride with Madison for that first part. Second part, we're going to go Deshaun Watson over Geno. Good question. Dame says Kincaid or Chig this week. PPR Dynasty, he says. Dynasty. Let's see. Kincaid, I had tight end 14. Chig, tight end 19. We're going to go ahead and ride with Kincaid in this game. Devonta Smith, another question. Devonta Smith or Olave for a flex this week. This was a hard one for me. I don't want to bench either of these guys. You have to bench either of these guys? I have them back-to-back, man. I think they're both very good plays this week. I have Devonta as a number 9 overall play, and I have Olave 19th. We have them both back-to-back, though, in our combined rankings. So I'd play Devonta. You have Jets too. God, you have a nice receiving core. Can you not play one of these guys in the flex? Do you guys it's a 2 wide receiver? Do you have a flex too or not? Or you just have to play? Damn, that's tough. If you only got 2 receivers, I have Jets, Lamb, Chase. I need a flex. Oh, is this the same dynasty league? Okay, got you. I was like, how the hell do you have that build? That's beautiful, dude. Great work on that build. Wow. I would go Devonta. Yeah. Holy shit, man. Congratulations on the sex, man. That's awesome. Congrats. That's holy shit. That's a receiving core. You kind of just broke my brain there. Good question. Appreciate everybody. We'll be on here for about let's go for 5 more minutes. It's 10:50 Central right here. We'll go until 10:55. If you have any more questions, drop them in here. Otherwise, like I said, you can go on over to rosterwatch.com and you can drop a question in the comment section. We'll get those questions answered ASAP. Louis, I'm going to go to Twitter right now, and I'm going to scroll through, see if there's any more inactive, active results that came out that we missed on. Does not look like we did. I think we talked about everybody. Tyrion Davis-Price. There we go. Tyrion Davis-Price is an interesting one. I think about these deep ones. I always look for the deep guys, right? So Tyrion Davis-Price with the San Francisco 49ers. That means we're happy with Elijah Mitchell's health. And Tyrion Davis-Price will be inactive in week 1 for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's check out the Panthers and Falcons quick. Panthers inactives are Chark, and now I can't read the website because they want me to pay for it. That's cool. Looks like DJ Chark's the only notable skill position player for the Panthers in that one. Kevin Weber, is Roschon Johnson worth having as a bench stash? Yes, but you need to be able to know your league mates, and if you do cut him, what happens? Because you will have the couple weeks, probably between now and whatever, the Bears open up against Green Bay, Tampa, KC, Denver, Washington. Like, I wouldn't expect a lot in those first 5 games, but I still want him on my roster. I mean, as soon as the door opens, you're going to be pissed you don't have him. So I'm holding him as long as possible on my benches. All right, let's see here. Let's go to rankings. No more inactive active notes coming from the good old Twitter. Let's go to rosterwatch.com. See if there's got any questions in the comments over there. Then we'll wrap this bad boy up. Is Jaden Reed the best pickup for the day? Asks Dre. I think Jaden Reed's a good pickup for the day. Saying he's the best would be tough. Because you're gonna have to use that. You have to look back at hindsight after the day, because there's just so many. The thing with week one is you're gonna have so many guys that you're like, oh my god, I forgot he was on that team. Oh my god, I can't believe he got that much output. Like Reed is lined up right, similar to Marvin Mims in Denver. So we like Jaden Reed a lot. He's a savage. Alex kind of compared him to an Antonio Brown down there at the Senior Bowl. I thought kind of a Kadarius Toney-esque, but with his brain like, or his head like fully tightened on. For Jaden Reed there. So we both like Reed a lot. Question from the RosterWatch.com post PPR, Everett or likely. This is coming from Chief 58 on RosterWatch.com. We're going to go ahead and write with likely over Everett, I think. I'm going to double check the rankings. I think we have likely over Everett, though. Let's see. Tight ends. Let's see. Everett, 14.6. And likely. Well, it's unadjusted. Okay. So I have likely, though. I have likely right here. I have likely one spot lower than Everett. So they're back to back. I'd go likely, dude. I'd go likely. It's a good one. Harry Baker, PPR, Gibson, Addison, or Deontay Johnson. I would, or Deontay Jackson, Deion Jackson, Jesus Lord, Deion Jackson. I would go Jordan Addison or Harry Baker. Good question. We'll end it out with one of our longtime listeners, one of our best friends, Franz. Oh, we got another one in here. We'll go here and then we'll go back to Franz. Mike Evans or Alexander Madison at flex. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm going to go Madison here just on touches and opportunity. I trust that more so than I do Baker getting the ball to Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is a great DFS play today, but I'm going to go Addison for fantasy lineup leagues, PPR. Fans, we're going to end it with you today, big brother. Hayden Hurst or Chig Okonkwo. We're going to go Hayden Hurst. That is the name of the game in fantasy football in 2023. We're going to ride. We might die with Hayden Hurst, but we're going to ride. That's for 100% sure. Thank you guys for staying here, rosterwatch.com. Go answer the rest of your questions. Click the like button, click subscribe here on YouTube. We're trying to build this channel up as we go throughout the season. I'll be back every single Sunday answering your questions for about an hour. Again, we're 53 minutes deep, so I appreciate you guys staying here. So click the like button, click subscribe. We'll be back throughout the entire week doing some more content. And like I said, I'll answer every single question. So Adam dropped it in here. Hopkins or Michael Thomas? The answer in week 1 is Michael Thomas.